Let's talk about the film A Gray State, 2017's A Gray State by Eric Nelson and produced by Werner Herzog. It's been on Netflix for like 2 years, so I'm late to the party on this one, but I looked around YouTube. I can't find a really good review of it. Um, and what you do find is a lot of conspiracy theories that the government killed him because he was getting too close to the truth, or that the house was a portal for demons, and the demons killed him. It was just a demon portal. But back here in 2020, under the yellow sun, let's take a look at what actually happened. Now, David Crowley was an up and coming filmmaker, and he produced a trailer crowdfunded by $60,000 he raised from the paranoid alt-right Alex Jones community. And it's a very violent and exciting trailer, which he sort of depicts the FEMA as an armed police agent and a dystopian future for America. If you remember at the time, 2012, 2013, there was alt-right conspiracies that FEMA was going to be used by Obama to round people up and put them in camps and things. So he wants to make films, but he wants to make money, and he funds it through the alt-right community. So he's got to kind of provide them with the paranoia that they're used to seeing. Now, he described himself as basically a libertarian and a pacifist, but he was paranoid, according to his own commanding army officer. But um, his politics are not very detailed. He really just wants to make films and make money. Much like Alex Jones doesn't believe in anything. He just wants to make money. He's a right-wing grifter. I'm so glad that guy's been banned. He's had a horrible influence, and he actually got crimes committed by playing to people's more paranoid and mentally ill fantasies. Now, he had delusions of grandeur, David Crowley. He believed he'd soon be rich and in Hollywood, making movies with a branded name of Gray State, and there'd be all kinds of great things. But eventually, the Hollywood funding did fall through, and his wife saw visions and heard voices and believed she had been raptured, and he filmed her giving this revelation. He apparently believed it, and they committed suicide Christmas Day 2014. Yeah, it's a pretty dark movie. But so what did happen? It's a clear case of untreated mental illness, and there's not much psychological analysis in the film, which perhaps understandable. But they are dead. But yeah, it's pretty clear that's what it was. He would go through periods of high productivity and passion where he could organize people, and he got this trailer out, crowdfunded, and he was just very motivated and passionate. And people that are bipolar, they go through these manic phases where they can do things, anything, accomplish things that perhaps most people could not. And then he would go through month-long periods by his own admission of depression and isolation and his dark place, as he called it. So this is a common pattern of, the early onset of bipolar disorder that usually occurs in the 20s, and he wasn't out of his 20s yet. He's like 29, 30, but when he died. Now, a significant portion of our population is bipolar or schizophrenic, somewhere between 2 and 3% of each, and 1% have both. You can have both. And, Alex Jones preys on these type of people. A loud, histrionic, paranoid individual is attractive to this minority of people. Now, today it's Trump, but back then it was Alex Jones. But according to a very good New Yorker article on it, it said mania shared by two people, one of whom appears to be dominant, and it's called a delusion by proxy, and it's rare. It's a great phrase, delusion by proxy. So what do you do when your spouse is bipolar or schizophrenic and unmedicated or perhaps undiagnosed and having paranoid delusions and hallucinations? Talking to demons, seeing the future, end time, eschatology, the rapture, convinced there are demons and evil forces raging against her or perhaps her church. What can you do? Well, it's a very difficult situation. I've been in that situation. I'll tell you what not to do. Don't threaten to have her institutionalized again if she doesn't take her meds, because at that point, if she's too far gone, she'll just call the police and tell them that you're holding her against her will or something, because she can't tell them the truth that you're an enemy of the Catholic Church and that she's seen visions of the future and the holy water is not helping or whatever. In a lot of cases, they're very good at holding these delusions in because, especially when they've had treatment. And my ex-wife told me she had powers she wasn't going to tell me about because I wasn't a believer. And she had told me about the seeing the future and talking to the dead and all. But anyway, what can you do? But if you call the police, you could end up in some kind of Kafkaesque police state nightmare that truly is a gray state. It's a gynocentric bureaucratic system that is run by people with low IQs and very high amounts of God complex. But my advice: put your stuff in the truck and get out of there in the middle of the night. It's too dangerous to try to save women these days. MGTOW, don't get married. But anyway, back to the movie. He actually believed his wife had been raptured. He was paranoid, and he was in apparently a down cycle. But mania is where the delusions come from. Delusions are false beliefs, and hallucinations are actually seeing things, hearing voices, and she was doing that. But this shared delusion is a little rare. Both of them are religious. If the person was atheist, they may shrug off these hallucinations and see them as hallucinations. But if you're religious, you're more prone to actually take them as signs from God and follow their instruction and go off the rails. Now, so when they secluded themselves in the house for a long period of time, isolation is dangerous. We need better mental health care. Bottom line, we've got to raise awareness, but also get people good single-payer health care, very cheap at the point of access. Okay, Medicare for all is a good start. Vote for Bernie. Keep left people. We've got to focus on real things that exist. And mental illness exists, and demons do not. Now, you can see on YouTube, there's one video I particularly love where this just average girl goes through her first psychotic break when she had bipolar, and she thought she was the Dalai Lama, Socrates, and was seeing Jesus all in one night. And she was an atheist. Okay, so, and she said, that ought to tell you something about religion. It's essentially based on these mental illnesses and aberrations that occur during them. Now, in many cases, when they're religious, the delusions will be taken as fact, and they'll continue. If it's more a permanent state, they could have some schizophrenia as well as bipolar. But there's a very high rate of suicide with bipolar people, and it's very dangerous. I think that I've said it before, getting into a relationship with a bipolar woman. Now, so yeah. And as far as the FEMA camps go, wow, Obama wasn't that proactive and about doing things for the country to get everybody in a FEMA camp. If it wasn't turning the country over to Goldman Sachs, he just wasn't going to do it. But anyway, it's this paranoia on the right is just amazing. Of course, the alt-right's moved along, but it's worse than ever. And Trump pulls from that same power base. But this is a tragedy, but we need to take the lesson that we need better understanding and better health care and mental health care, which is physical health care. I mean, it saves lives. But anyway, sleep tight, America, and everybody see this movie. You don't know what I'm talking about, and don't get married.